You're listening to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, a daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Ryan Hill.
I'm John Galantis.
And you can find us online at clearviewtodayshow.com. Or if you have any questions for Dr. Shah or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028. Or you can email us at contact@clearviewtodayshow.com.
That's right. You guys can help us keep the conversation going by supporting the show. You can share it online, leave us a good review on iTunes or Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasting content from. Link in the description. We are here once again in the Clearview Today studio with Dr. Abadan Shah, who's a PhD in New Testament textual criticism, professor at Carolina University, author, full-time pastor, and the host of today's show. Dr. Shah, welcome back to the show.
He's not here, bud.
How long is this dude going to be gone for?
He's not here. He's still traveling.
He said he was going to be back.
He's still traveling.
He said he was coming back.
He's still traveling.
He's still gone.
He's still traveling.
He's still
yeah,
gone.
And you knew that.
I knew it. Well, the empty chair kind of gave it away.
Sure.
But can we just cut to the empty chair real quick? Oh, so I do kind of have a gripe that I want to lay out for a second. But before we do that,
let's make it to the word of the day.
Let's make it to the verse of the day. Yeah.
Verse of the day today comes to us from John chapter 1, verse 14. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
I think that's one of the themes of the book of John that I really find myself drawn to the most, is that when you look at Jesus Christ, you are looking into the face of God. And I know that sounds simple, and I know that seems elementary to the Christian faith, but think about the gravity of it, and especially the gravity of who he was talking to.
Yeah.
You know, Dr. Shah says it on the show all the time. The Jewish people were not stupid. They were not like, oh, wait, what is this Messiah thing?
What?
Oh, yeah, that's the thing that my great-great-great-grandfathers were talking about.
Yeah,
no,
they knew what they were talking about.
They were actively seeking him. So for him to come onto the scene and say straight up, I'm God, that'd be a big deal if someone said it now, but we'd be like, you're crazy. Imagine those people who were actively seeking it. For those who believed, and that's another huge theme of the Gospel of John is belief.
Yep.
For those who believed, that is like game changing. That's your entire life is different in a heartbeat just because of this one man that you've met.
Yeah, and they clocked that. They knew.
Oh, yeah.
They knew that this was the Messiah that they had been waiting for. And the ones who rejected him knew who they were rejecting. Yeah. They knew it wasn't like, oh wow, I didn't realize that was actually the Son of God. No, they knew that. They didn't like the fact that Jesus was shaking up their status quo. But I love this. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. This God with us, Emmanuel. This is God's presence among his people. In the Old Testament, they had that with the tabernacle and then the temple. And then in the New Testament, of course, Jesus lives among us. And then once the Holy Spirit arrives, God lives within us. Amen. And that progression is just a beautiful truth until one day we will be in the presence of God for eternity.
That's right. That's right. Ryan, happy Tuesday, man.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Taco Tuesday. I was going to wear my Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
I was going to wear my Taco
good.
Tuesday socks today, and I completely didn't. I don't even know what I'm wearing right now. I've got my boots on. I can't even see them. Okay, so I got a question for you.
Okay.
A marriage and family question.
Okay.
This is not a marriage and family show, just so y'all know. But I
am married and have a family.
I'm going to ask it in a minute.
Okay.
Before I do, something I just thought of. This is not in the run sheet. I'm not reading this from a script.
Sure.
This is responding to all the people who said, hey, what happened to Monday's episode? I'm sorry, not Monday's episode. Thursday's episode. What was the episode that got messed up?
What happened to Thursday?
Was it Thursday? Nicholas, do you remember? It was Thursday's episode, the first day that Dr. Shaw was traveling.
Yeah. What was wrong with it? What happened?
You haven't seen? Have you tried to see the video?
No, I just listened to the podcast. I don't usually watch them.
So a bunch of people were like, where's the video for Thursday?
The video? There wasn't any video?
No, there wasn't a video. Well, there was a video. You know what the video was?
No.
The video was a 40-minute shot. Yeah, you didn't think I was going to call you out, did you? Put the camera on David. Oh, the camera don't work? Well, another reason we don't have a good video. Nicholas was out. He wasn't there.
Sure.
Yeah, he was out. David filmed us talking, doing the Thursday episode.
Sure, I remember.
It was a 40-minute shot of Dr. Shaw's empty chair. That was the video. That was the video for Thursday's episode. Now, on the one hand, that's kind of stinking funny. On the other hand, I'm pretty teed off because I got people being like, where's Thursday's video? And I was like, I didn't know Thursday's video didn't get posted. So I go to Nicholas. I run to Nicholas.
Yeah.
Hey, bro. Where's Thursday's video? He turns the screen around. It's me and you. It's our audio over a shot of an empty chair for 40 full minutes. And I was appalled.
And here's the thing. We didn't even have to switch back and forth.
No, it was one shot. It was one shot. The switcher was completely irrelevant. He put it on the shot of Dr. Shaw's, looked me in my eye sockets and said, action. and we just did the show. And now I want to put it on him to show his shame, and y'all are telling me David's camera doesn't even work? Hey, brother, why are you coughing all in the... Y'all are telling me David's camera doesn't even work? No, I don't want you to sit anywhere. You're not sitting in his seat. Tell the people why you did what you did. Tell them why you did what you did. Oh. So anyway, that's the reason we don't have a video for Thursday. Unless you just want to see a shot of a chair for 40 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Rant over. Marriage and family.
Sure.
If Elizabeth gives you a task, hey Ryan, could you get the groceries in? They just delivered them outside the porch. Could you get them in for me? And you say, let's just say, I'm sure you would just drop whatever you're doing and do it right that second. But let's say you're like, yeah, I'll get them in a second. What is your window before she has a right to get angry?
If I'm not moving inside of 30 seconds, I'm probably in trouble.
What?
Yeah.
If you say I'll do it in a minute or in a second or something, you said half a minute.
It's groceries. Yeah, it's groceries. I mean, what if they?
Oh shoot, this is not going to go well for me.
What if there's dairy stuff out there? A half hour.
Yeah, I was on the couch and I was playing games with Gavin, and she said, "Can you?"
No, brother. That's why it's got a pause button. That's why they made a pause button. Absolutely no.
Boy, I did not. I'm
not with you on that one. No. What if a person walks up and just starts eating your groceries?
Like a bum?
Yeah.
I mean, he must have needed it more than me. I'll just get more groceries. But they were on the porch. They were like 10 feet from my head. I'm laying on the couch with my head to the door. And she said, "Will you get the groceries in?" I said, "Yes, I will. I'll get them in a little bit." She said, "Okay, thanks." She comes in about a half hour later, just livid, starts getting them in herself. And I said, "Ellie, I said that I would get them in." And she said, "Yeah, but that was a lie." My contention is it wasn't a lie. I didn't lie. I was going to do it.
Your little bit was way too big.
So you say you have about 30 seconds to start moving.
If my response to her is, "Yeah, I'll get them in a second or I'll get them in a little bit," I got about 30 seconds, maybe a minute to start moving. I don't have to be like done, but to start moving to go get the groceries. I got 30 seconds to a minute.
Is that crazy, or is that just like it is what it is?
No, I would be upset if I said, "Hey, will you go get the groceries in?" Groceries, yeah. If there's a delivery like a package, that's one thing. But if groceries, that's food.
So it's outside and it's in the cold. It's frigid cold out. It's January.
What if the wildlife gets it?
It's not. What wildlife? We're not in the wilds of Canada where you're like ghosts.
You got raccoons that live in your neighborhood.
Mooses
possums.
and stuff. Yeah, some possums, but they're not interested in cheese puffs. They're not interested in a daggone Hot Pocket or a PB&J.
This is wild to me. Wild. No, I'm not with you on this one. Sorry.
30 minutes might have been a little much, but I guess I just didn't think so. I think 30 seconds is crazy.
And here's the thing, like if I'm in the middle of like I'm trying to repair something, or like I'm like up to my elbows trying to unclog the sink, or like I'm working on something, that's one thing.
You don't want her relax. I see.
But if I'm like
relaxing,
and she's like, "Hey, can you do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it in just a second." It probably better be just a second.
I think right in. Let us know what the window is, because I don't think anybody is out there, and Ellie's not. I don't think anybody's demanding immediate obedience.
No.
But what is the window? Like, I would like to know what other couples' windows are.
For me personally, if there's groceries out there, they need to come in pronto.
That's
like
crazy.
That has to happen right away.
In the summer, I would be inclined to agree, because the milk, the ice cream, whatever, but it's January.
Right. It's wet. It's wet and gross outside. It needs to come in right away.
That's why they call them wet groceries.
Wet groceries.
She didn't want
the gross in groceries.
Yeah, she didn't want wet groceries. Okay, well.
Write in and settle this for us, 252-582-5028. What is the window of time? Are you asking groceries specifically?
Yeah, sure.
Groceries specifically. What is the window of time between the asking and the moving?
Yeah. Let us know. And we're going to cut to a break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Clearview Today listeners. Every day we invite you to join us in these conversations and explore the never-ending truth of God's Word. And if you've been following the show for a while, if you feel like it's blessed you and you believe in the mission we're on, we invite you to partner with us through your financial support.
That's right. Your giving helps us keep the message of the gospel reaching more hearts and minds every day. And when you give for the gospel, that's not an act of generosity. That's an act of worship. It's a way to honor God and invest in His kingdom, knowing that every single dollar you give helps us share the hope of Jesus with a world in desperate need of Him.
If God is pressing on your heart right now to give to the Clearview Today Show, you can visit our website, clearviewtoday.com, clearviewtodayshow.com and press that little button that says Give Today. And we just want to say thank you for your support. May God continue to bless you as you partner with us in making our show as impactful as possible for the gospel of Jesus Christ.
That's right. We appreciate every single one of you. Now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Clearview Today with Dr. Abadan Shah, the daily show that engages mind and heart for the gospel of Jesus Christ. You can visit us online at clearviewtodayshow.com, or if you have any questions or suggestions for new topics, send us a text to 252-582-5028.
We mentioned this up top. We've been mentioning it on the last few shows that we've been doing, that Dr. Shah is traveling. He's not here. If you're just tuning in today for the first time, you're wondering why Dr. Shah hasn't piped in yet. He is actually sitting right over there. Just, Dr. Shah, do you want to add anything at all? He's just kind of quiet today.
He's not there.
He's not there. So we're here in the studio holding it down. His travels have taken him somewhere very, 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 very cool, and we're going to be talking about it when he gets back.
We really want to share it with you, but we can't right now.
We have been going through his book, 30 Days of Praying Through America, Daily Devotions to Heal Our Nation, that he wrote with his wife, Nicole, earlier in 2024. I think it got published in July. Mm-hmm. And so we've been kind of going through and talking about some of the devotionals that he's written. One of them we did on righteousness. One of them we did on sin. One of them we did, I think yesterday's episode was on revival. One of the questions we get asked a lot on the show, and I think Dr. Shah gets asked by people just in the community, in the congregation, or people who write in, who watch him on the internet, is God through with America? Are we past the point of no return? And I think that's a valid question. Right now, with everything that's going on in our nation, is this just crazy things that are happening, or is this God's judgment?
Yeah.
And and I think he said this on the episode when we talked about the California wildfires. You want to be very careful when you pronounce God's judgment, like, hey, this is happening to California because of their sin. Like, be careful.
Yeah.
But I think it's still a valid question. Like, is this divine judgment that we're going through? And if so, is there any redemption? Is there any hope? Or is God really done with us?
Well, I think there are stories, throughout history and really throughout the Bible of God, pouring out his judgment on a people or on a place.
Yes.
I think about places like Sodom and Gomorrah that experienced God's judgment. I think about places like, Nineveh, that was the destination of God's judgment. Yeah. But God relented because the people repented of their sin. And I don't think we can confidently say that God is done with America, but I think we can definitely say that America needs to turn back to God.
Oh, yeah.
I think we can say that with every confidence.
I think you had a great example there with Nineveh. Nineveh, it says in Jonah, Nineveh was a exceedingly great city belonging to God. And I don't think it means like in fact, I know that it doesn't mean that they were worshiping God. They were God worshipers. Right. I think what it means is they were on God's heart.
Yeah.
And just, this is kind of a side note. I know we've talked about this before, but Jonah is one of my legitimate favorite Old Testament stories.
It's a great story, and it's such a wonderful read because it's only 4 chapters.
Yeah, it's short.
It's a quick story. It's a little bite-sized story, but it's so powerful.
And I love like tragic, maybe not tragic in this case, but like bitter endings.
Yeah.
I love stories that have bitter endings. Like the Star Wars prequels, I know like the way it ends, love that.
Yeah.
The story of Saul, I love it. And Jonathan, I mean, it is really cool. Samuel, we talked about this the other day, where Samuel ends with him failing.
You kind of know that they're doomed.
They're doomed. Like Star Wars Rogue One is like that. There's something about a story with a really bitter, hard to swallow ending. Samuel is like that. We talked about being in love with the book of Samuel, I think on an episode last week on the Friday show. But Samuel is just like, I have to. My mission is to convince the people of Israel to not appoint a king. And they're just like, nope, we're going to do it. You lose. And so anyway, Jonah is just one of my favorite Old Testament stories. And it says in chapter 3 that it was a great city belonging to God. And Jonah began to enter the city on the first day's walk. And he cried out and he said, 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown. And then the people actually end up believing. It's like one of the shortest sermons ever.
Yeah.
But I love it because that chapter shows where God has shifted his work from God working with Jonah as an individual person to God working with the Ninevites as a people. And I think that shift is missing from a lot of Christians today.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Christianity today focus on God, heal me, develop me, God, prosper me, bring me into a good, full understanding of who you are. I want to have self-actualization. Mm-hmm. And we have shifted away from God, heal our land.
Yeah.
Bring America back.
I think, one of the things that the people in the Bible had as a benefit over us, there's a lot of things that we have benefit over them. We live on this side of the cross. We have the full canon of Scripture. We have the Holy Spirit of God living inside of us. There's a lot of blessings that we have that they didn't get to experience.
That's right.
However, one of the things that I think they had as an advantage over us is the collective mindset versus an individualistic mindset.
Yes, I agree.
And you still see this in the East. You still see this with nations that have that collectivist mentality, where it is very much the we over the I. It is very much the community identity versus the individual identity that we grow up with here in America. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being an individual. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being your own person. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But I do think that we lose a little bit of the understanding. We have to work a little harder to understand stories like this, where God is working through a people. God is working to capture the hearts of a people versus God's focus on the individual.
That's right. Dr. Shaw has talked about this on the show. I think we did an episode on this, or we may have mentioned it in passing, but the sovereignty of the individual, and there's lots of scholars out there who would agree with him on that, is the cornerstone of Western civilization.
Yeah.
It is considered to be the single greatest achievement of Western culture, is the sovereignty of the individual. That being said, what you just said is 100% right. It doesn't mean that we're lesser than those East, but we do have to kind of work harder to understand that. And I think in a lot of ways, America is today where Nineveh was like 2,700 years ago. We're in the middle of economic, moral, spiritual bankruptcy, and we're paying the price. And that's where the Assyrians were, and that's why they were on God's heart.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that we're seeing is God speaking to us today like he spoke to the Ninevites back then. And he's not going to send some crazy dude covered in whale guts, like bleached white, shouting on a beach. Like if Jonah appeared today, man, he would be taken away to the loony bin just like that.
Yeah. Falls out of a whale's mouth in the Outer Banks. He's like,
yeah,
you have 40 days and America will be overthrown.
Repent! It's all coming to an end. They'd be like, get this dude out of here. Somebody trank this guy. But he did send his son, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The work has already been done. He doesn't have to send David. You okay, Dave?
I just imagine
just let it out, brother.
Like a Doc Brown with like crazy wiry white hair. His skin and his hair is all bleached from the whale's stomach.
I wish the camera was working. He's crying. You okay, brother? You want to say anything? Or are you good? Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Some loony guy, like wild-eyed, wild hair, just kind of like shambling into town.
You want me to do it one more time, just for you? Repent! All right, rest in peace, headphone users. He's not going to send a prophet like that anymore. Yeah. The work has been done. He has sent his son, Jesus Christ, to us. And through the word of Jesus, God is giving us the answer to our problems as a nation. I'm trying to power through, but David is he's laughing hard. He's giving us the answer to our problems as a nation. So here's the question. Are we going to listen?
Yeah.
Are we going to listen to it? And I think we really got to get back to a place where the American people actually care about the state of a nation as a whole.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that's 100% right. I think that we have lost the concept of caring about our nation, and it's really just like, hey, as long as me and mine are good, we're good, man. I don't know what's happening out there. I don't care what's happening out there. We're good right here. Circle the wagons.
Yeah, and I'm not preaching to you. I'm not preaching to you at all. I struggle with this more than anybody else. I think I said this yesterday. I'm a true blue millennial. I am the main character. I am the nucleus. I am the foundation. I am the rock. I am the true center of my universe. God is working on me for that.
Yeah.
The older I get, he's given me, and it's not like some revelation that came out of the sky that opened my eyes. It was my family. It was a wife first. Yeah. Well, first it was coming to Clearview and seeing that there's a mission here.
Yeah.
There's a vision that's not my own.
Right.
And I can get behind that. I can devote my life to a church that I didn't establish. I can devote my life to a vision and a pastor who is casting that vision. I can do that. And then it was getting married. Mm-hmm. And then it was having kids. And now I see that I'm not the main character, and that's cool. That's good. It's good for me. And I think we're starting to see that with kids getting younger and younger and younger. I think this election actually proved that. Yeah. I shouldn't say kids, but young people. Young adults.
I agree. I think that that heart for America, that heart for our nation is coming back. Mm-hmm. I think we're seeing a resurgence of that. I think a lot of times the teenagers and young adults that we have today, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, have grown up in a world that teaches them that they shouldn't be proud to be an American.
Well, that's right.
They should be apologetic to be an American. Like I'm sorry I was born into this privilege. I'm sorry I was born No, that's not what it means to be an American. We should have compassion for other people. We should be kind to other people. But you should be proud to be an American, to live in the nation that we live in, because God's hand is on America. God, we are one nation under God. We have wandered from that path. We have turned away from that path. But that doesn't mean that God is done with America.
That's a classic, 100%. That's a classic case of like somewhat sound premise, very faulty conclusion.
Right.
Because the what you call it, the criticisms that people leverage against America are not conjured out of the wild blue. They're rooted in some truth. The conclusion then that this is an evil place, it's always been evil from its inception, and you should be ashamed to be this, and you should really hate this nation, that is I think where the deception comes in.
Yes.
Because this nation was not founded on evil. It was not founded on greed. It was not founded on dominance or power. It was founded on biblical values. And so Dr. Shaw talks about that a lot in his book, 30 Days of Praying for America. We really urge you, we'll talk about it a little bit more at the end of the episode, but we really urge you to buy that book because it does lay out all of those truths. And we're not saying that America is this shining example of the ideal nation. It still has problems.
Yeah.
In fact, it still has a lot of problems. We were talking about Nineveh. Listen to what Nahum says. I didn't realize this. I was Googling Nineveh earlier, and I actually didn't realize the book of Nahum has a lot to say about Nineveh. It says, "Woe to the bloody city. It is full of lies and robbery. Its victim never departs. The noise of a whip and the noise of rattling wheels, of galloping horses and clattering chariots. Horsemen charged with the bright sword and glittering spear. There's a multitude of slain, a great number of bodies, countless corpses. They stumble over the corpses because of the multitude of harlotries of the seductive harlot, the mistress of sorceries, who sells nations through her harlotries and families through her sorceries. Behold, I am against you, says the Lord of hosts." That is not a good report.
No.
The Lord is angry. He is upset with you. And I think nobody would ever say, well, that's America. That's us. And my question is, why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, we don't look good as a nation overall. If you kind of take a general sweep of where culture is, of where popular culture is, media, it's not a good picture of a nation under God.
Yes, if you ask the average person about all the things that are happening in America right now, having an abortion, homosexual behavior, transgenders engaging in like what do you call it? Where they do the
story time,
where they go, they're dragging children into the story time, rampant pornography all over the place, recreational drug use. If you ask the average person, the average American about them, they'll say, "What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that."
There's everything wrong with that.
Yeah, it's not even a thing where it's like, oh, yeah, to each their own. It's like, I genuinely, even some Christians will tell you, I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
But here's the difference in America and Nineveh. God cared for Nineveh. Mm-hmm. We just read in Nahum how God was against Nineveh, but by the time we get to Jonah, God cares for Nineveh. God cares for the Ninevites. Yeah. Here's the difference between America and Nineveh. America was founded upon Christian principles.
Yes.
America was founded to be one nation under God. Nineveh, we talked about this guy on a few episodes ago talking about tyranny. Yep. Nineveh was actually founded by Nimrod.
Yeah, the dictator from Genesis. From the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, Tower of Babel. Same guy founded Nineveh. That's why it's called the Bloody City, because Nimrod was this bloody hunter who was a hunter of men.
Yeah, he was a villain.
And he founded the city of Nineveh. That's their foundation.
Mm-hmm.
But if God cares for Nineveh, a city founded by somebody who hated God, how much more does he care about America, a nation that, yes, we've lost our way, yes, we've messed up, but we were founded upon biblical principles.
That's right. And that foundation matters. Like Dr. Shaw will tell you, and I think we've talked about it, we may talk about it again in the future, but how you're founded, like how you begin, really, 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 it's not a guarantee for success, but it's extremely important.
Yes.
Anything that you do, any enterprise that you start, whether it's like writing a movie or whether it's writing a book or whether it's starting an organization, or how you begin, what you build your foundation on is incredibly important. And so when we say that America was founded on Christian principles, it's not like a catch-all to say, see, we can't do anything wrong. It's to say that we are built on something solid that can't be shaken. And so repairs can happen. Like if you try to repair a window of a house and it's built on like a cracked foundation, like that's not going to do anything.
Right.
The point of us saying that we're founded on biblical principles is saying that we can fix this.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be us. It'll be God working through us, of course. And you see that in the response of Nineveh. Like, that was even fixable. The foundation was completely cracked, but God in his wisdom, he sent Jonah, and Jonah said 40 days and Nineveh is going to be overthrown. And so the people of Nineveh believed God. They proclaimed a fast, and they put on sackcloth from the greatest to the least of them.
Yeah.
And I know, like, there's tons of times where I've thought, man, like, I wish it was that easy for me.
Yeah.
I wish I could just go out there and say, hey, God is not happy with America right now. And people just like, okay, we'll change.
Yeah.
And it's of course, it's not that easy.
There's a couple reasons that the Ninevites responded so easily, and Dr. Shaw talks about this. Things were in crisis mode. They'd had some, military and diplomatic losses. There was famine. There were some riots and uprising. There's an earthquake, solar eclipse, like all kinds of crazy things happening. So they were already in that kind of like fight or flight crisis mode. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing happens in verse 6. It says, "Then the word came to the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne and laid aside his robe, covered himself with sackcloth, and sat in ashes. And he caused it to be proclaimed and published throughout Nineveh by the decree of the king and his nobles, saying, Let neither man nor beast, herd nor flock taste anything. Do not let them eat or drink water, but let man and beast be covered with sackcloth and cry mightily to God. Yes, let everyone turn from his evil way and from the violence that is in his hands. Who can tell if God will turn and relent and turn away from his fierce anger so that we may not perish?" When the leadership changes and gets on board with biblical principles, things will change for the nation.
That's right. That
is a tried and true principle. You see it throughout history. You see it in the Bible. And, if you were to look at the people who were running in this past election, I think it's clear that President Trump is the one who would uphold biblical convictions.
That's the reason that we applaud President Trump on this show, and we do so publicly. It's not because he's God's righteous man for me. It's that, he is at least saying, he's at least acknowledging that this country was built on the Bible, and he's going to do his best to uphold it.
Right.
It's not a personality thing. It's not a popularity contest. It's not because we're just so in love with this boisterous personality. It's none of that stuff. It's because he's given his word. I, as the leader, am going to bring this country back to a biblical foundation, and that is what we care about.
That's right.
So I say he has our support.
Yes.
He has our prayers. We're going to be revealing a little bit more about that. He actually has a copy in, I think it's going to be in the Oval Office for the next 4 years. He has a copy of 30 Days of Praying for America. I know I say that on the show a lot. I really like saying it, but I like even more that it's true. And you can get your copy today on Amazon.com.
I like that. I like saying it. I like even more that it's true.
Yeah, because I can say it. I could be like, yo, he's got this book, and it doesn't have to be true.
We could be made up, but it is actually true.
For this case, it actually is true that Dr. Shaw got in touch with another pastor who, out of the goodness of his heart, we didn't ask him to do that. Just God used him in a mighty way, and he gave President Trump a copy of Dr. Shaw's book.
Yeah.
So big thank you for that.
Super exciting.
Any final thoughts as we're wrapping up?
I think the biggest thing would be, God is not done with America. I don't think we can write our nation off. I think we have a lot of ground to make up. I think we have a lot of course correction to do, but I think it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
And I think the change that we're seeing in leadership, I think that the changes that we will see over the next few years, I think are going to prime us for a return to biblical values.
I agree. And I think we're gonna be in this together. America is on the upswing.
Yeah.
And I think that's reason to celebrate. And so as we do this show more and more and more, you're gonna be seeing themes of that. There's themes of victory. There's themes where Dr. Shaw is gonna be taking us through his End Times Prophecy series, and a lot of that, it's very easy to make that doom and gloom and apocalypse and fire and blood and death. But a lot of the themes you're gonna be seeing and hearing from us are gonna be a victory, because ultimately that's what we're gonna see in the end.
That's right. Make sure you guys join us tomorrow, same time, same station. We're going to be diving into another great topic here on the Clearview Today Show. Thanks again to our sponsors for making today's episode possible. And don't forget that you can support us by subscribing to the show on iTunes if you want to re-listen or share it with a friend. You can always support us financially at clearviewtodayshow.com. John, anything you want to plug for our listeners as we close today?
Definitely want to plug the 30 Days devotional series from Dr. Shaw and Nicole. You got 30 days through a crisis, 30 days to a new beginning, and of course, 30 days praying for our nation. These are all daily 30-day devotionals for you, for your family, for your church. We also got some original music in the pipeline. Very excited to be. I guess we can we say the title? I guess we can say the title. It's not out yet, but we got a new single coming out. It's called Great and Awesome.
Nice.
Really, really, really fun. We got a couple more mixes to put on it. It's a process. That was one thing I learned about original music. It's a process. It takes a long time, but it's very worth it.
It's going to be both great and awesome.
It's going to be great and awesome. And in the waiting, you can check out our debut album, Heaven, Here, and Now, available on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere digital music is streamed or sold.
That's right. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. We'd love to see you there. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Clearview Today.